Hello everyone, my name is Notepad Anon and I write games for fun, so what the fuck are we doing today? Well, we are going to be working on Wolves, Sheep, and Shepherds Lux. Well, we're going to be working on the Redux stream anyway. Oh goodness, didn't mean to hit that button. Oh. So, what is Wolves, Sheep, and Shepherds, if I can actually spell this. I need a new name for this fucking thing. WSS is a game that was originally a porn game. What occurred was, actually you can even see it right here, Project Eros, Christian roleplay. One of the things that occurred was I went into it, I read some things, I looked around as best I can, and quickly discovered that ERP is not a real genre. People claim it is, and there are entire, fucking discords dedicated entirely to cooming. There's nothing there. It's worthless. It's everything in them is absolutely garbo, useless in the pursuit of actually making a game. So I had to reapproach the situation. I had to take a step back and think about it differently. Now, one of the key things is that I think the best way to word it, one of the key things is that I kind of thought about it for a bit, and I'm like, okay, I can't really stream this on Twitch at all. So I couldn't stream it on Twitch, so I had to improvise. I'm like, oh, I'm going to write effectively two versions. A Christian, quote-unquote Christian version for for Twitch, while I'll just copy everything over and just change the names for the, quote, real edition. The quote real edition fell through, so I'm like, well, I have it, I may as well use it, hence you have this absolute shit post. So I'm curious, if we go back to our version history, how old is Wolves, Sheep, and Shepherds? We're looking at October 2nd, 2020. So yeah, no, it's a few. Let's see, that would be almost a year old, about 10 months. If I can stop hitting all the buttons. Yeah, Google has been acting up a little bit today, so pardon. Twitch decided to change everything about my setup as well, so that was fun fixing. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be going through and making sure everything looks pretty. Putting in all our notes and kind of setting up how we want to do things, potentially, and how we are going to handle ourselves. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Not exactly a pulse-pounding adventure, but it's what we have to do this early on. So, let's get rolling. Well, one thing I gotta do. A new preface is needed. This is actually one of the few games I actually had a full, introduction for. It's also one of those games where not that long, and I could probably, fix things up and do it. It wouldn't actually be that much effort. So let's get rolling. So playing the game, Project Eros. So actually, one thing I'm going to have to make a note is, I'm going to put a note right here for myself. Commit to a name. Goddamn name. Notepad. It's kind of had a few different names, and that's kind of like one of the issues, because it was like, it's Project Eros. It's not Project Eros. It's Wolves, Sheep, and Shepherds. And what was the one a fellow member of the consortium said? It's, let's see. Ascarius Christi. It kind of kept going back and forth when it came to names. And I couldn't really find a solid idea for it, and I trying to find a good name for it. It's kind of its own complicated affair, so I'll take suggestions. That's all I can really ask. So, let's play full set of D4, D20, 1 to 5 players, Game Master. We can actually probably give this. Give this a better name. Whenever a character attempts an action, with a chance of failure or is in opposition to another character, they must perform a check. The character rolls their attribute die plus modifiers. Attempt to beat the difficulty value for a simple check set by the game master, where both parties roll their attribute plus modifiers against one another. DV is a die the referee rolls in opposition to the character making the check. In addition, the game master may assign complexity to a check, which adds the number of dice equal to the difficulty. Which adds a number of dice to the difficulty value. If compares combined rolls equal to higher than DV's check, they are successful in clear situation. If they roll less than a DV, they have failed and suffer the consequences. Certain miracles allow the character to augment difficulty and roll as appropriate. If there's ever a time when there is contradiction, the last effect takes priority. So this one was a little bit weird when it came to actually like how it works. So it would be something, say, if I were to say, okay, we're going to be making an intermediate complexity average check. I roll 2d6 versus the player character's roll. Yeah, that means there's a chance I'm going to roll 2, or there's a chance I'm going to roll 12. I actually took this system from somebody in one of the homebrew threads. They were making, I can't remember even what the hell they were making, but I haven't seen them since, and it was just the right thing that I was looking for. It was actually for Fist of Chaos is actually where I got this system originally, and this kind of expanded on this with the complexity side of things. I actually like the complexity mechanic. I think that works real well. Okay, a disciple is composed of the race. I don't really know what to call this, so race needs to be changed to something else, because the idea is that 3 out of the 4 current races. Hello, D1. I'm doing pretty alright. Nice and quiet day today. 3 out of the 4 races are pretty much just humans, but with something else. The only one that is explicitly not human is a golem, but that has its own issues. So, curious. If I'm not talking too much, I haven't been feeling too hot today. So skills identify. Characters' races, their baseline for their attributes and skills, well as their starting purity. Attributes define the character's abilities and natural talents. Actually, we can probably cut this. Just natural talents. Skills identify what the characters focus on, how easily they can surmount certain challenges. Race needs changing. Experience penalty, actually certain. Needed to increase an attribute or purchase a skill. That's... keep a note. So, humanity has been in his grace for as long as Adam and Eve's great. Walk this world. Actually, as long as Adam and Eve had Humanity has been in his grace for as long as Adam and Eve have touched this world. Humans have their fair share of problems and sins. They form the bulk of the Adjudicators. The Adjudicator Order, and the Disciples. Humans have access to natural miracles and have a starting purity of 100. Hello, Simon. So let's see. Youth. Actually, I should do, so this would be about, like, if I want to do this correct, this would be about 13 to 18. Young adults would be... There we go. You can still remember the cooming aspect of this game is still here. It's still present. Hence why we have the Mimisan anime approved token over here. To make sure that this is, in fact, a cooming RPG if you want it to be. You coomers. So starting XP... Bloodsuckers, Nosferatu. Just in blood survival, find pain in sunlight as their body twists and contorts. In reality, vampirism is more commonly understood as sort of a disease. Twist and burn under sunlight. Force the host to consume blood of others and having their skin be exhibit the same qualities. He's as albinism. Is that it? Albinism? No, that wouldn't be it. What is the term for fragile skin? Like easily burnable skin. Oh, easily burnable skin. As albinism. Yeah. Soon the blood of these shouldn't exhibit the same quality of albinism in regard to burning. Pretty much, you as a vampire, or Lamia in this case, are pretty much a person who's been infected with vampirism. It's kind of absolute, and actually acts a little bit more like the Elder Scrolls version of vampirism. You've been infected with this, and you've gained these powers. You're just a little lot stronger. Join the faith or reclusive. Let me see. We'll zoom in a little bit more. Reclusive and young for their kind. Decades longer than many, upwards of centuries if they are able to take care of themselves. The Adjudicator is one sworn to keep the balance between their kind and the mortals they feed on. A dark and twisted path of sin and righteousness. Or it was. Now it's pretty easy to get blood packs. Lami are still powerful and noble in form, but their hunger can easily be sated. That does not stop those who straddle. But that does not stop those who hunger for the fresh, for the still pumping, for the freshest, for the freshest. Ugh. Lamia X, miracles of the flesh, miracles of the blood. They also start with purity of 75. Yeah, Lamia are kind of nuts when, compared to, like, this is what a Lamia looks like. This is what a human looks like. Yeah, they start up pretty average, while these guys definitely do not. They really do ramp up quickly, but that's their entire thing. Hence why we have, fun fact, hunting down to this image on the right was actually insanely difficult because vampire nuns, you find a lot of vampire nuns. Yeah, finding the right images for this book was almost fucking impossible because it has such a clashing concepts to it. Like, the best way to word, like, the intent of this was going to be anime Catholicism. That was going to be kind of the joke. The perpetual kind of haha funny time thing was that it was anime Catholicism. It was this kind of over the top nature while also being like members of the faith, and everyone's like very Christian, but it's also like, hey, we're still all anime bullshit going on. Let's see. Most Aryans keep to themselves. Hunting and farming to feed their ravenous appetite, but with the march of technology, it became more difficult to do that. The Aryans spread to the cities. And others kind across the world. Wars were fought, territories ceded, but the church always dealt with the threat before it could spike. Actually, escalate. The Aryans have been a part of the church's adjudicators since the baptism of the wolf of Gubbio. Gubbio in 1220, later Father Giovanni of Gubbio. They have proven a valuable part of the forces of Christ in the war against demonic incursions and the supernatural, with a powerful body and senses. Purity of 85. Yeah, luckily, literally just Powerwolf albums. Just only Powerwolf albums. Though, the thing is that they're not all Therians are werewolves. Just a chunk of them are. But I couldn't really. Bibbidi bobbidi bobbio. Mamma mia. Yeah, no, that was a weird thing. Because like this was a real thing, like the Wolf of Gubbio. And it was Saint Francis of Assisi. That's it, Assisi. Yeah, this is like a real thing. Like a wolf was terrorizing this town, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna convert the dog to God because I can talk to animals, I guess." And he did. That's what he did. And I always thought, and when I read it for the first time, I was looking for things like, I wonder, where could I base this off of? And I'm like, yeah, a guy going out there being like, hey, werewolf, stop being a fucking idiot or I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. And be like, yeah, okay. Let me convert to Catholicism. Because that's what happens in the story. Like, this literally what occurs is that he converts the wolf to Catholicism. Like, there's a bunch of weird saint stories, and I love them all. This is like one of those ones that like you can find a lot of information on. There was another one. It was Irish Catholic wolf. Yeah, it's Alibe of Emily. Alibe Saint Alibe or Albus or Saint Elvis or Elvis, I guess. He's one of the four big ones, and his big things was wolves. Like he liked wolves, Like, I tried to find more stuff on this. Like, there wasn't actually that much. He is the patron saint of Munster, the Ark of Cashelemli, and just wolves. I don't know why. Yeah, it was like, there was a few of them. Atherians were originally supposed to just be Catholic werewolves. Because I'm like, that sounds cool. But I'm like, I can't just have werewolves. Like, I need to add others. So that's why we have things like bears. Technically, bears, rats, and lizards can all be members of the faith. Though I should actually should put in a note somewhere in this. Actually, what I should do is actually, I really don't need to put in that much. But what actually will I do is I'm gonna put a note right here. Double check all attributes and stats to make sure. Because one of the ideas is like, if you want to make them anime as fuck, you can. You can just make them like, instead of like, we're Catholic werewolves, it's I'm going to regret this heavily, so I'm going to put this in another tab real fast. Uh, Anime girl, anime wolf girl. Am I going to get porn? Okay, no. Okay, just a little bit. There's just a little bit of porn. Okay, so let's do anime wolf girl. God damn it! Holy shit! I am slurring my words real bad today. Unfortunately, there isn't. For some reason, there's Fire Emblem. That's a thing. Like 3 houses. We have whatever the fuck this is from Photo Bucket. Maria Holic. And Spice and Wolf, the premier microeconomics anime. This is what I was working with. Like, I was working with so little to get this aesthetic right. And if I were to like try to make this a full game, I would need to like work with a single artist and just bully them into making the perfect aesthetic. Golems are the weirdest of them. Pretty much, I'm like, well, how do I add in Father Alexander Anderson? How do I add in him? Because he's not quite human. And he's not quite much anything else. How do I do this? So what I said was, golems. Pretty much the Catholics stole the ritual to make their own golems from the Jewish population through coercement. Because I'm like, Catholics would probably do that if they knew, like, the Jewish people can manage to steal their, create golems out of nothing. Why don't we do that? Except we're just going to steal it because we're evil. Failing a bit. With time and effort, many golems find themselves a niche in personality. They are, however, free of sin due to their nature of being akin to Adam or Eve. Yeah, because one of the things is, golems are completely free of sin, because they're not born of flesh. They are born pure, effectively. Hence why they are one of the few things that actually have a purity of 100 and can never lose it. Unless they, like, deliberately go out of their way. Method create budget golems. Now, their gimmick is pretty simple. Every single golem has a d20 in one attribute, and the rest are d4. D20 is the absolute highest, and that's what you would roll to oppose things. That is nuts, by the way. That is crazy, and you really shouldn't have that many, but you do. Actually, reread this section, re-look at this section. Something is very wrong here. Because, wait a second, because character creation, all characters start with a baseline of D6 and all attributes. D4s. You're good, but then, like, why are you all D4s? Do you just get a bunch of skill? I don't know. Something was not written there, right? Strength, toughness, willpower. Skills. Skills are real weird. Real weird, because if these look familiar, it's that they are very familiar, because I've actually used these ones before a lot of the time, just because I'm like, I need skills. So actually what I may do is overhaul, or at least clean up the skills section. I don't know how I want to do this personally, but it's like, the idea behind a skill is, let's say you have a complexity of 4. Actually, let's say a complexity of 3. So, and the difficulty is D6. Pretty much you'd be rolling against 3D6 versus whatever you're rolling, versus you. If you have, let's say, 3 ranks in a skill that's adjacent, they'd be rolling 3D6, 0D6 versus you, which obviously means you're going to instantly succeed. But if you have like just 2 in ranks, you'd only be rolling 1. It pretty much makes things a lot easier for you to work with. That's how the skills were going to work, but something isn't right because this game is jank. Yeah, I'm gonna have to disciple. Patient, outdoorsman, performance, stealth, rise of the martyr. Yeah, this is also one of those things I'm not entirely sold on. I was in the limb-based thing. I'm like, everything must be limb-based. And one of the reasons why it was that is because the combat system is actually based entirely off a fucking mech game. Can I pull it up? Yes, I can pull it up. So, it is based entirely off of this game, Grand Belm Dancing in the Midnight Realm. Is this even the most updated? I think it is. Yeah, it is the most updated version because it has everything. And this game uses a system I call beats for its combat, because it has there's a big thing on music in this game, and like music plays like a really big part of it. So what I had to do is like, okay, how do I base around the combat being really over the top? So I used a system called beats. And every single action you committed increased your beat die. So it's like, D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, and that does different effects depending on when you did it. So you were always encouraged to wait longer. And that system, yes, smug anime girl and Sushi, best girl of her show. Fucking best girl, even though she was the villain. I loved her though. Pogarinos. Yeah, that was an oldie. That was a way oldie. And I distinctly remember why I wrote that. Is I woke up in the night and I came to the realization of like, wait a second, I know exactly what to do now. Like I turned my computer. It was like 2 a.m. I was like asleep. I like walked over to my computer, I turned it on, and I wrote down the basic notes and then went back to bed. It was that important to me. It So, a slightly different amount of health per limb, but if 2 or more limbs are destroyed, the character dies in battle. The only exception of the character rule of golems. Let's see. It would be the disciple. I gotta. So, actually, what I should do is possibly revisit, possibly revisit or completely overhaul. Because pretty much most people are going to have actually like pretty low health, but you're not really trying to do that. It's things like, yeah, you can see by this action right here of go aerial of what the nature of the combat is. It's about kicking someone in the air, performing an air combo on them, and power slamming them back down. D6, 16, if so, 10, it would be considered broken, and as it would be negative 16. What? So, for example, a character has D6 in toughness. They add 6 plus 10 equals 16 to their head. The 22 damage to their head. It would be considered broken. Actually, no, it wouldn't be considered broken. What are you talking? It would be considered crippled. No, you dumbass. What are you doing? No, pal, what were you thinking when you wrote this? It would be considered taking 22 damage, so 16. It would be considered crippled. Crippled. The character being at negative 4 negative 4. What did I end up calling this? What's the exact name for it? It doesn't even have a name. I guess health. Negative 4 health on their head. If they take 12 more damage, it would be destroyed, otherwise known as being dead. If there's going to be a section that's going to get changed, it's going to be this one, and it's going to have to be like an entire thing in the combat system getting changed. But Therians are a little bit tougher, and they get a little bit more options to do things, and the golems are the absolute toughest. But they don't really give a shit. So, conflict, unavoidable fact, is by some rebel in the dangers. Combatants enter the fray. And together determine their initial initiative value. So, rework this. So, one of the big things here, I'm going to put a big note here, but I want combat, combat needs to be big and exciting. I want to have, stylish combat being kind of like a big idea of this. And I want there to be, for lack of a better word, a kinetic feeling to everything you do. Every single action should feel meaty and should feel dangerous. It's the, I'm going to dash up to you, stab you with my sword before roundhouse kicking you away, because I'm cool anime Catholic man and I'm trained to fuck you and fuck your face. Hippity hoppity, I'm going to turn you into the altar boy. So the highest initiative value chooses their action first, then order descends. 2 characters at higher finesse acts first. Builder beat die, yeah. See, the beat die by performing different actions each subsequent action, called a combo. So we may revisit this section a smidge to increase, actually to make it a bit more unique. Large and impressive. Honestly, I might add a little bit of the idea behind flow motion combat. Just a smidge, though. I don't know how much. Because this is like what it means by combat. So like the thing is, you can't really do any of these twice in a row, or else you lose it. So I can't attack twice because I'm only going to be doing D4, 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 D4 damage. It's going to be not going to be worth it. So what you want to do is you want to do creation. You want to beat die to a combat miracle. And then you want to, execute someone at a low beat value. Then you want to refocus. So I've did 3 actions. So I've gone up to D4, D6, D8, and my next attack is going to be D10. So I'm going to use D10. I'm going to use that for my attack. So it's D10 plus 1 of my strength or finesse plus my weapon minus my evasion for range or brace for melee and damage. Evasion and brace are actions determined by the enemy. Hence brace and evasion. Combo enders finish the round. That's the idea. This finishes your combo, usually because it does something big. Things like the follow through strike. So what I'm going to do is add on to this a bit. Pulling off some fucking Royal Guard bullshit. Add on to this. I need some more options here. Major threats and minions. Minions on the static energy with single beat die instead of health equal to the beat die times 2. A minion dies once reduced to 0 health or an execution axe is used on them. Give this a system notepad. Do it now. This is always my problem, is that I like saying, like, just make it like a character for most enemies. I should give it a little bit more bits there. Enemies of God. The arena when confronting the enemies of God, the arena represents the time and place of fighting. The time and place the fight is occurring in. Mundane as a parking garage, or as fantastical as a twisted realm of the Fae. Characters enter the arena to battle. It's either the Adjudicators or their target who will emerge. 2 to 5, 2 to 6 set piece, and this is also based almost entirely around the Grand Belm way of looking at things. So give this a bit more unique identity. I like this. It just needs a little bit more to give it some more thing. I might lean into one of the because actually no, it wouldn't be hair. It would be down a bit. But there's some options there. Now, this is going to be one thing I'm going to have to just say heavily expand on. That's probably what's eating my computer is fucking Steam trying to download something. Because you are expected. Yeah, heavily by a friendly dev known as Vito and his project Homunculi. Pretty much the idea is that you are creating a weapon. That is your weapon. That is your thing. Beyond the gates, Darkness cannot be easily felled by mere weapons. They often require the power of relics to best them. A relic is a piece of equipment that is blessed by the Lord. What I should do is Notepad, don't make a note. Don't make a note like this without putting numbers 2 where your mouth is. Mouth is. Mouth. Jesus. Which defines how they operate and deal with force. purposes of evil. The form of the relic is what it looks like and how it operates. This determines how the relic is used in confrontation and actions. Next, size of the relic. Finally, choose one blessing to give the relic. Determine its special effects and its divine nature. The purpose of the relic is to smite evil and assist the Adjudicator in their noble purpose. Let's see, indicates how many dice are rolled for its attack, but the tags on the relic gives special properties to defeat the enemies of Christ. Okay. Clarify and expand. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of things here that I think I saw in my head, but not really that well. Because one of the things is I didn't want firearms to like dominate it. So that was kind of one of my big things, that don't use guns. Guns are lame. Guns don't do cool things. So actually what I should do is add more. Damage modifier. So yeah, this would be what I should do is this would be damage dice. So the idea being that if you have a small weapon, you are having like it would be D4, but your axe would do 3d4 damage, and then that would be based off your power. So that would be like Pierce 1, because it's X times 1, which I need to clarify this entire section because it's awful. Its value is 2 dice value, so a large axe when confronting a demon counts as a 3d6 weapon. Using a gun, as long as each bullet is blessed, it counts as a blessed weapon, but shooting regular bullets reduces the value significantly. Hey, Notepad. Don't say these things. These things unless you're going to commit. That's kind of like I think a sin of Notepad's past is that he doesn't like committing to certain aspects. And sometimes I have a bad tendency of like, oh, well, I don't need to add this now. Don't worry. I'll handle it later. Later comes around and I get, punched in the face. Let's see, a blessing. When employed by the Adjudicator properly, the blessing is always in effect. Who is not the attuned user. Actually, however, a character who is not tuned not use the blessing on the relic. The blessings on the relic starts with just one blessing. As the user grows in power, they may share their experience in divine blessings with the relic, granting additional blessing. And share their experience with their relic, granting additional blessings and useful additions. Notepad, why do you do this to yourself? Have an actual list of various blessings to add to this list. Should be expanded and made a bit clearer. Miraculous form. Use of miracles. Find inspiration that allows supernatural feats. By most complex, any miracle may allow to manipulate the very fabric of the battlefield to enforce God's will. Single point available schools, miracles. This reflects, guess what? Notepad, hey, Notepad, fix this now. Just poorly worded things. Sometimes I just need to fix that. That's what 95% of Redux projects usually do. It's something is broken, I need to fix it. something doesn't quite work the way it should per week that resets on the Sunday congregation. But the total rank of all their paths in addition to any relics with the miraculous tag. 2 ranks in sort. They can use any miracles they have access to a total of 5 times. This means they can use a single miracle 5 times or 5 miracles 1 time. Purity. Touched by impurity mouth comes hurt the user. Purity is rated 100, with impurity filling the remaining amount. So they have 25 impurity. That's a wording issue. It's miracle, they roll 1d100. If they hit a number inside of the impure range, the effect of the impurity takes place. While if they are pure range, then it goes as normal. As a character, gains and loses purity by the virtue of vice of the church. However, reaching 0 purity doesn't mean the character is evil. Just tied to the mortal world more. But then there's taint. I need to expand out the taint system a bit more. It's not the exempt coming into contact with power supernatural, demonic entities, and unholy means to perform their duties. And unlike impurity, it adds on to the purity amount. What? Unlike impurity, it reduces the purity amount. It reduces the purity amount. And if rolled, the miracle fail, and the miracle fails. The miracle fails and disaster strikes. Burned away with repentance or time. Right. Yeah, okay. Okay, so one thing I'm going to have to do is, I'm just going to put this as a note, is we need to heavily expand the number of miracles. Miracles, like 3 per stage, as well as... Yeah, because right now there's there's very few miracles, like relatively speaking. So the Adjudicator begins the unraveling process of spell. Yeah, you get things like this. Like, technically you don't... It's very odd, and maybe I should commit to some of these a little bit more. No one can perceive them inside. So what I'm going to actually do is play into this section a bit heavier, making it mandatory to be employed. Pretty much you have to build an arena of crazy anime bullshit going on. And the idea is, anytime someone sees something they shouldn't, you just use third eye understanding and say, no, stop it. But this is how most of these things work. So let's say I have, like, let's just say 33, 33, 33 for all of them. If I succeed, I just get increased order by 5. That's, if I get it, I get this. If I roll impure, I get that. And that's actually a fucking footnote. Notepad, look at your... What were you thinking, Notepad? What is this? Every fucking time. Yeah, this was one of those, oh no, Notepad doesn't know what he's doing. Snaps an attempt Snaps themselves to attention. Yeah, I need to clarify some of these. Like, a majority of them work kind of as the idea is, but it's just adding more and fixing things up. Yeah, this is like what Therians also have an idea with. It's kind of hard to explain how I wanted like Therians to function. And there's a reason why they were very odd, and I couldn't find a good way of doing them. Game was very much a fuck, oh god, oh god, oh fuck, oh god. Yeah. We need that. I need to play into the congregation more. Focus more on this. Focus more on this section. Play into the responsibilities of the characters as members of the faith, as well as build out the church a bit more. Because what you are at your core, you aren't like, we're just demon hunters who hunt demons. You are kind of the adjudicators of all the supernatural bullshit that occurs in the city and your specific domain. Usually it would be condemned to cities, but it's like, let me see. Like, the diocese of New York is actually like pretty huge, but the like all the archdioceses, like, oh, there's good. God damn it. Like, maybe that's not as, but like this would be like your coverage area. It's just like, yeah, you have to cover like this entire section here. You have to cover this entire section here. And it gets a bit more confusing when you get to like Wyoming, where the diocese is the state of Wyoming, because there just aren't that many people there. Because it's like one of those, you are the member of the church, and you have to deal with that fact. There's only been 10 bishops of fucking Wyoming. That's hilarious. So, like, yeah, part of the Grand Province, and then of the episcopal. Anglican commune. Oh, it's even Anglican. No, this would be it. We'd have to look up Catholic. Yeah, I'd have to look up Catholic stuff to really get that, because this is based entirely off Catholicism. And technically, we could probably throw an Orthodox in there pretty well. But yeah, you're pretty much covering, rather than like a single city, it's like these fairly larger areas that you are responsible for all the problems go along with that. Midnight Mass, Daylight Mass. Members of the Midnight Mass. Regarding their presence, even supernatural beasts understand the power of the church and its inhabitants. While they may not comprehend the concepts of religion, they do understand making their presence known and not causing a ruckus is a good method to not find themselves prey of the adjudicators' predatory tendencies. Let's see. Yeah, also, I have no idea why this guy did this. It's like one random guy like decided he wanted to move this image everywhere except where it should be. Yep, there we go. This is also how you level up. That's why I'm like, I need to kind of maybe focus on this a little bit more. I could probably add in a bit more combat focus and make it a smidge quote forgiving. How do I want to word? Yeah, forgiving towards characters who choose high investment starters. Yep, this is Fate Young Men is a hilarious manga, by the way. You should all read it. Great. It's 30 XP in total. Every blessing costs 3 more to gain, so having 3 blessings would cost a total of 9 XP. 1 is free, 2 costs 3, and 6 costs 6. 2 costs 6, okay. Alright. So, what's the main gist of what we need to do? I'm not, like, entirely surprised of what's needing to be done. But looks like it's going to be a lot of cleaning and a lot of commitment to design. One of the things that I want to do, now this is Notepad waxing philosophically. So what this game would need to be is this game would need to this game would need to have a very heavy focus on the combat sections being like these big lead up moments. It's like you are getting into a combat fight, not because it's like combat fight. You're not getting into like a big fight because you just feel like it. It's like we are leading up to this confrontation and we're gonna solve this now. We have formed the arena. It's time to throw down. Uh, I may use some more aggressive concepts in that. I think I need to recontextualize some of the fighting. Have a few ideas. I think it's going to be a lot of just clarifying combos and possibly allowing like a more legitimate combo system than the kind of the janky one I have, and using that as kind of a style system. Hitting SSS rank as you style on your opponents and do a triple backflip and execute someone. That's cool. We like this, but we need to make it more. So we have that. Yeah, skills are going to need an update just to make them not terrible. Probably I'm going to have to fix sections. I'm going to put the congregation earlier. That's just going to be a thing. I'm going to have to put the congregation system earlier, and I'm going to expand that out quite a bit. It's going to be like you have to manage your people, and we have to deal with the daylight mass. We have to deal with the midnight mass. We have to deal with the problems of running a church. And what I'll probably do is add in sections like, hey, you do not need to have every single session be this high octane combat death monster fight. You can have funnier sessions. You can have more relaxed sessions, which like, hey, the adjudicators need to, help with a blood bank, but oh no, Therian gang is trying to, not a Therian gang, it would be like a Lamia gang is trying to be dumbasses, and it uh, try to keep everything working well while also making sure the vampires don't steal everything. Or hey, you need to make sure that the daylight mass people don't find out the fact that you're trying to host a bunch of ghosts that night, and the ghosts are already there. So it's like it's you while the father is going over things. Like you can do I want things to be a little bit more entertaining and have those slice of life moments. Because I think that's how I want to position this game. It's the high octane Devil May Cry combat, but also with the slice of life elements in between there. If that's not like, oh, well, that's not super intense and super fun, that's okay. It's okay to have chill sessions sometimes. And it's one of those lead up sessions where it's like, we're going to do something relaxing this time. It still serves its purpose. We're still helping someone who needs help for the next Sunday. We might discover some information. We might do some stuff. Or maybe we're just kind of vibing. We're just hanging out, making sure we can do those kind of sillier events for people. We're doing the weird church things. The church does a lot of things, and sometimes it's really dumb. It's sometimes it's people trying their best. You know, how does the golem teach Sunday school kind of thing? Yeah, that's kind of the idea what I want to get across is as a as the church, you are obligated to make sure that people are happy. I might also add in a section that's actually that wouldn't be a bad idea actually. We can actually add in we'll call it the on the alternate settings section plus yeah, no, we'll do the alternate settings section. I think that'll be fun. Just like, hey, you're all shrine maidens. Go fight demons. It's that one. It's that one anime, Kanazuki no Miko. That's it. Kanazuki no Miko? Is that it? I was right. I watched this entire fucking series. I don't know why I was in, but I'm in. This was also odd, a very odd show, because they had a mech. I remember this. I remember this. Because I was always incredibly confused why randomly they would hop in a giant robot. It would come out of nowhere. It was just like, we have to fight the demons. And they were like, oh no, a giant robot would appear. No explanation. Just a giant robot. So it could be stuff like that. Just like, here's some more ridiculous things, more weird settings for you to play with. But with the current amount of stuff in this, with the current amount of ideas, conservatively, I'll say 3 episodes. Liberally, I'll say 4. So probably either early or mid next week, this should be done. If I feel confident on Friday, I might make it a Saturday stream to just power through and make sure that it works properly and finish everything up. If I'm like, okay, there's not much actually left to do, if I kind of blitz through it on Wednesday and Friday, but I'm feeling about 3 episodes. Feeling about 3, maybe 4, depending on how. If I have to gut combat, it's going to be longer. I don't want to gut combat, but I also understand that I probably will have to. But it will mean I get to watch Devil May Cry more. Like a lot of Devil May Cry. Like an insane amount of Devil May Cry. So, my name is Notepad Anon. I write games for fun. And this was the Wolves, Sheaves, and Shepherds name pending TM stream. Preliminary Redux stream. I am not confident in this success. I am far from confident in its success, but it's gonna be a game of commitment. It's gonna be me having to marry its design to its themes and ideas, and trying desperately to make Devil May Hell sing Revengeance. Bayonetta edition. Catholic version. Alright, I am away. Godspeed, good luck.